What's going on, NFL fans? Welcome back to the channel. We are exactly 16 weeks away until we kick off the 2024 NFL season. In today's episode, I'm going to break down all the games from week 1 of the NFL season and give my predictions to each and every single game. First, we're going to kick it off with Baltimore traveling to Kansas City to kick off the year. The Baltimore Ravens have a new defensive coordinator. Rashee Rice looks like he's going to be suspended for week 1. It's a very interesting game to kick off the year. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are looking to be the first team ever to have a three-peat. But can Lamar Jackson and new running back Derrick Henry have something to say about that? Lamar Jackson has to play better against the Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is 4-1 versus Lamar Jackson. He's so much better. 13 touchdowns to only 2 interceptions with an 86 QBR. On the other side of the coin, Lamar Jackson has struggled. Only 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and a 53 QBR, guys. I just like the Chiefs in this game. Arrowhead is a really tough place to play games at. With the new defensive coordinator, I think they're going to have trouble stopping Patrick Mahomes in this game. We'll have to see if Rashee Rice is going to play or not. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs to win this game 24-13. Then Green Bay travels to Rio to play the Eagles in Brazil. This is going to be a really close game. The Eagles have lost a lot of key veterans like Fletcher Cox, Jason Kelce, Hassan Reddick, and they also have 2 new coordinators, Kellen Moore on offense and Vic Fangio on defense. The Green Bay Packers are one of the best young cores of players in the entire NFL. But will that offensive line be able to stop Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and this really talented defensive line of the Philadelphia Eagles? I think this is going to be a really close game. And don't forget, the Eagles still have Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Smith, and they added 2 huge weapons in the draft with Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean. I'm going with the Eagles to squeak out a victory 23-20. All right, let's move on to the Sunday games. These are the early 1 o'clock games on the East Coast, 10 o'clock on the West Coast. Pittsburgh traveling to Atlanta. I like Kirk Cousins and that high-powered offense in Atlanta. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts. I just think they're going to be really hard to stop. Pittsburgh has a pretty good defense, but I don't expect them to score a lot of points. Kirk Cousins has a ton of experience, and I think he does just enough to win this game. I'm going to say 2017 Atlanta. And then we move on to Arizona at Buffalo. Arizona has drafted really well the past 2 years. They got Marvin Harrison Jr. to pair with Kyler Murray. This is Jonathan Gannon's second year as the head coach. He's a very good defensive mind. So that's why I think the offense is going to struggle a lot against the Sean McDermott defense in Buffalo. I think Buffalo is going to win another close game. I think a lot of these games week 1, you can tell by the spreads. There's only one spread of all the games over 7 points. That's the Bengals game. I think this is going to be another close game. I think the Bills win this game, let's say 2017. I think it's going to be a really close game. Then we move on to Tennessee at the Bears. The Bears are all the noise this offseason. Hard Knocks is going to be there for the preseason, so I wonder how that's going to affect Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze and some of these veteran players like Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift. Tennessee had a really good draft, bringing in J.C. Latham and Tavondre Sweat on the D-line. I really like the Titans to go on the road and steal a win here. 24-21. I like the Titans in this game. They're going to protect Will Levis a little bit better this year, I think. And the Bears, so every quarterback who is drafted number 1 in their first game, they're 0-14 with 1 tie. So that's not great numbers. Tennessee is bringing in a new defensive coordinator who's really aggressive and he likes to blitz. It's a tough out for Caleb Williams. I like Tennessee to win this game. Now we have New England at the Bengals. We got Joe Burrow back. They have a new offensive coordinator there with the Bengals. I just don't see New England scoring over 10 points in this game. That offense is going to be terrible. Jacoby Brissett is probably going to start week 1 over Drake May. I think Cincinnati wins a 14-10, 17-10 type of game. It's going to be Low scoring. I think it's going to be under like 38, 39 points. So if you're into betting the under, this would be a game to target. Then we move to Houston at Indianapolis. This is going to be one of the most fun games of opening week. Anthony Richardson's coming off that injury. Year 2 for both these guys. CJ Stroud was unbelievable last year. They added Joe Mixon. They added Stephon Diggs. This offense is going to be humming this year. I think they're going to win. This is probably going to be like 27-24. I think Houston wins this game on the road. Maybe 27-20. I don't know if the Colts can score 24 points in this game. I like Houston to win this game on the road. Then we move on to Jacksonville at Miami. Last year, Miami really beat up on the bad teams, but they were not so good against the good teams. I don't know who Jacksonville is going to be this year. I think they're going to be kind of mediocre again. I just don't see them taking that step forward to be an elite team in the AFC. Miami lost some big free agents on defense and on the offensive line. I think this is going to be another close game. I think it's going to be probably a pretty sloppy game in my opinion, but I'm going with Miami to win a close game here, 23-17. All right, then we're going to go with Carolina at New Orleans. Going to New Orleans in the Superdome is always tough to play. Carolina had a really good draft bringing in guys like Xavier Legette and the running back from Texas. They added a bunch of elements to that offense, added some offensive line help and free agency. But I think New Orleans is just going to be a little bit too much, in my opinion. Derek Carr should win this game. I think it's going to be closer than people think. And these defenses are just okay on these teams. So I'm going 27-23 for New Orleans to win this game. Then we have Minnesota at the New York Giants. I saw online on ESPN that the Giants are 1-point favorites. Yikers. I'm taking, man, if you could tease this game with Minnesota and get 7 points or something like that, Minnesota's going to win this game on the road. I don't expect Daniel Jones and Malik Nabers to be on the same page right away. But Minnesota has a young quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. But he's got a bunch of veteran wide receivers, and I think they're going to scheme it up with a really good head coach to make it simple for him in the first couple of weeks. I think Minnesota dominates this game. I'm going to say 27-13 Minnesota over the Giants. And then we have Denver at Seattle. Seattle has a new head coach too. Year 2 for the head coach at Denver. They drafted Bo Nix to be the quarterback there. But, man, Seattle has a really high-powered offense, man. They got Njigba. They got DK Metcalf. They got Tyler Lockett. This is a shit-or-get-off-the-pot type of year for Geno Smith. If he's not successful, they're going to bring in a new quarterback because that offense is way too good to be mediocre. And we all know playing in Seattle is one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. If Bo Nix is starting week 1 to go on the road and beat Seattle, it's going to be impossible in my opinion. I'm going 27-13. Seattle wins pretty easily in my opinion. Then we have the Raiders on the road playing the Chargers. The Chargers don't have a lot of weapons, and Las Vegas has a lot of really good defensive players, man. Max Crosby and that crew, they're an elite defense. I just don't think the Chargers can muster enough offense to win this game. It's going to be a close game, 17-10 Las Vegas. And then we have Dallas traveling to Cleveland, right? So Dallas, man, it's going to be tough sledding for Dallas, right? So they might be starting 2 rookie offensive linemen. One at left tackle who's going to be lined up against Myles Garrett. How do you think that's going to go? I think Cleveland is going to blow out Dallas. 23-10. I just don't see Dallas's offense being able to move the ball against this really, really good Cleveland defense, guys. And Dallas, I mean, their draft was just okay. If they're going to start Tyler Guyton right away, he's going to struggle for sure. He didn't have a ton of experience in college. Myles Garrett's going to have like 3, 4, maybe even 5 sacks in that game. I like Cleveland for sure. And then we have Washington at Tampa Bay. This should be a fun game to watch, but I think people are sleeping on Tampa Bay a little bit. Todd Bowles is one of the best defensive minds in the NFL. He's going to give Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury, the new offensive coordinator there, a lot of trouble. Dan Quinn's the new head coach. He's more defensive minded, so Kingsbury's going to run the offense there. They have good wide receivers. I think Jaden Daniels will be okay. But going on the road and beating a Todd Bowles defense, very aggressive Todd Bowles defense, is not going to happen. Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans are going to have a great day because that defensive line there, got all traded away last year, so they got to revamp that defense a little bit. I think this is going to be a pretty solid win for them, 27-13 Tampa Bay. And then my favorite game of the week, the Rams at Detroit. I think Detroit and that offensive line does just enough. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm saying 27-24 for the Lions. The Lions upgraded the cornerback position by drafting Terry and Arnold, so I really think that this defense is going to be better in the secondary this year. Detroit is my pick to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl this year. I like Detroit over the Rams. And then we have San Francisco at home over the Jets. I think this game is going to be closer than most people think, but San Francisco is going to be just too good. A lot of moving parts with the Jets, new offensive line, aging offensive line. They brought in Tyron Smith to play tackle there, but he's been hurt a bunch. I don't know if that offense is going to be quite good enough to keep up with San Francisco. And Brock Purdy plays better in San Francisco than he does on the road or in bad weather. If the weather's good, I like San Francisco to win this game 23-14. Actually, 23-17. It'll be a little closer than people think. So we're going to go with San Francisco to win that game. Let me know in the comments below, everyone. Do you like my picks? Do you hate my picks? I would love to hear your thoughts on these games in the comments below. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace!